I think what's critical about dogs is they understand that when you say something, you mean it. There are really only three things you expect a dog to do for you. Go away. Credit to Rick and Ronnie Smith. You want your dog to go away when he's supposed to. You want him to come back to you when he's supposed to. And you want him to stand still when he's supposed to. In essence, that's 3 commands, whatever words you use. If he's got good breeding, most of the rest he'll understand. He's got a good nose, he's going to learn to do this, work the wind. If he's got good breeding, he's probably going to have a natural pointing instinct, and all you need to do is cultivate that. If you've taught him to come back to you, whether he's got a bird in his mouth, he's tempted to chase that mule deer or anything else, you should be able to get him to obey that. So be consistent. Don't put up with disobedience. You have a great opportunity right now, and that is you got a great breeder, friend of mine, who will take your phone calls anytime, day or night. And so, and he gave you the bars. He gave him a handbook that says, at this age, work on this. At this age, work on this. I wish somebody would write that book, but every dog's different. But set the bar where you think is appropriate and work to it. Now, one thing I've been exploring with him, at times he is smarter than me. You're a great guy too. Dogs do need to be challenged mentally. And they get bored. So a dog that you might think is disobeying is probably disobeying because you're not challenging him enough. Perfect example. He's been force trained to retrieve. Yeah, that's how I felt about it too. And like I said, we're working on this duck search thing. And the same thing on dry land. You want a dog to be able to hunt dead. Well, I'm extending those distances beyond his comfort zone frequently so that he never gets bored with an easy task. And it could be anything. You know, you're teaching him to heel, walk at heel. Well, that's easy if you're just going up and down the aisles at church. But at some point, he needs to be able to maneuver his way around the sagebrush and then over that log and then through the gate. Throw some challenges at your dog. See how he reacts to those. Sometimes you might have to dial back a little bit, but other times he may be up for it. Dogs need challenges. They get bored otherwise, and that's when the trouble starts. I'm going to use him as the bad example. I got him, great breeding, great breeder, incredible dog. Every screw up that my dogs make is operator error, okay? We hit the road to make TV shows starting in North Dakota. He was 23 weeks old. I put him on the ground for sharptails in North Dakota at 23 weeks old. And he was backing his uncle, naturally. He was pointing on his own, naturally. And I'd forgotten that at some point we might actually kill a bird and he might actually pick it up. And so first off, he's chasing birds, which I'll never do that again. He learned to chase because I hadn't done the yard work that needed to be done before I introduced him to wild birds. Second, though, once he got that bird, he wasn't well trained enough to come back to me. Three things I expected that dog, and I blew it on all 3 of them, actually. So he's got a sharptail in his mouth, and he's thinking it's time to play keep away. By the time we got that bird back, there was only 2 wings left. It wasn't his fault. It was my fault. I hadn't shown him what I expected him to do. All of that should have been done in the yard under a controlled situation. Check cord leading to electric collar or whatever else you want to use before we went out into a situation where all hell could break loose. There are a lot of breeders these days who are doing something magical and that we ought to do as well. A really good breeder will have exposed your dog, I've forgotten the term that I saw recently, expose your dog to 7 of everything. They eat out of 7 different kinds of bowls. They walk around on 7 different surfaces. They meet at least 7 people before they go home to you. They meet 7 different kinds, shapes, and colors of dogs. And the list goes on and on and on. But the most important of all of those is this idea of being exposed to different places. Once your dog masters a skill, take it to 7 different places and start over again, and then they'll be pretty well trained. We all go hunting for our own reasons, commune with nature, watch the dogs work, bring home a little protein once in a while. But all of that pales in the face of just having a good time outside. All of those things combine to increase the fun quotient and our enjoyment of the sport. If you want more protein, go down to the Safeway and buy filet mignon. It's a lot cheaper, as you well know. Have fun, and remember, whenever you go out, that he's going to be smarter than you once you hit the ground. So follow the hunter with the longest nose. Thank you for your attention. I'll hang around as long as you'd like me to. Appreciate it. Thanks. Don't forget to buy something from our friends.